the BBC. Incredibly, on the day that it is revealed that one of its Middle East reporters posted on Facebook that, and I quote, "We shall burn you," that's the Jews, as Hitler did. But this time we won't have a single one of you left. That's a BBC reporter in the Middle East, a freelance who's been on the Beeb more than a dozen times, I do believe. So as it is revealed that that's the kind of person they're employing to conduct their incredibly impartial coverage of the Middle Eastern dispute, the Middle Eastern conflict, the BBC marks its own homework yet again, and after spending a fortune of licence fee payers' money on a management consultant's review, it concludes that the BBC does not have a toxic culture but must do better. I mean, come on. Like, maybe you could not be so blatantly anti-Semitic. Perhaps you could admit that the legally prescribed terrorist organisation Hamas is actually a terrorist organisation. Maybe you could stop being so absurdly left-wing in your clearly biased reporting, BBC. How about also not employing as your prestigious chief news anchor a sordid little paedophile? And when you're finally forced to concede that Hugh Edwards, this child sex pervert, is perhaps not quite ideal for this key role, maybe don't pay him £200,000 more of his £440,000 salary. Then we've got Greg Wallace. We've got what's going on at the bullying row at Strictly Come Dancing, and so on and so forth. The scandals that consume this organisation day in, day out are frankly a disgrace, and yet they stare us in the face today and say we haven't got a toxic culture, but we could do better when it comes to handling wrongdoing presenters or wrongdoing members of staff. I mean, who are they kidding?
You know, I'm so fed up of these BBC stories, aren't you? I'm so fed up. You know, every few months there's some other BBC scandal. You remember, not sure whether you mentioned the one with the documentary.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's the Gaza thing, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you know, what it's like to be a child in Gaza by the son of a Hamas operative or some such.
Yeah.
You know, I'm laughing here, but it's so incredibly depressing, isn't it? Because we are all basically forced to pay the damn license. I mean, I had a reminder note about paying the license in a property which has never had a TV and never will. And it was unbelievably aggressive. You know, it was kind of like, we are going to come and remove all your possessions unless you pay your license for a TV I don't have. The place was unoccupied. You know, it was menacing. It really was. And I just think the time has come where the whole thing needs to be totally restructured, and it has to compete with the rest of the commercial stations on a level playing field. I'd get rid of the license fee now, and I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago, but it is so institutionally left-wing, and the worst of it is it doesn't even realize it's like that, because there are so many of them in there that it's just normal for them.
Yeah, it's a biased organisation. Its reporting has become a national issue, to be honest with you. It's just ridiculous. What was it that the barristers' organisation monitored the reporting of Gaza on the BBC and found something like, you know, 154 examples of blatant anti-Semitic lies, you know, broadcast by the British Broadcasting Corporation, you know, over a period of months, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And yet they mark their own homework, which they shouldn't be allowed to do, and they turn round to us. Again, you talked about gaslighting earlier in the show. This is gaslighting licence fee payers. Oh, we don't have a problem. We don't have a toxic culture. I mean, as I say, tell that to Hugh Edwards, tell that to Greg Wallace, tell that to the guys at Strictly, tell that to the documentary department that put on that ridiculous documentary starring the son of a Hamas minister, which they didn't deign to mention to us, and so on and so forth. This state broadcaster of ours has got a massive toxic culture problem and is epically self-deluding itself here.
Yeah, and it's such a pity, isn't it? Because it is a huge global brand, and we have to hope that perhaps in terms of its global reputation, it's less damaged than it feels to us in the UK. But that brand, it could be worth so much, and there's bits of the BBC that we can almost all agree on are amazing. The old David Attenborough stuff, he's obviously producing less of it now, but that kind of stuff is what people willingly pay the license fee for. But when it comes to news, the BBC just can't keep up with the modern news cycle. They're usually way behind other websites, other news organizations like our own in reporting the big stuff that's happening. And so what's the point of them unless they carry a certain credibility, a certain absolute, doubtlessness about them being correct? Then I don't see how they can really justify their existence. And unfortunately, they're so biased that that's been eroded.
And can I suggest that the BBC sues Hugh Edwards because that they erroneously kept on paying him after he was charged with paedophile offences, child sex offences. You might say, well, until he's found guilty, we will continue to pay him. You might make that decision. It would have been better, I would have thought, to held back his money. But he got 200 grand of his £440,000 a year salary after he was charged with child sex offences. 200,000. The BBC afterwards said, "Oh, Hugh, sorry, can we have that money back, please?" And funnily enough, he has declined to return the £200,000 that they paid him. Well, why don't they sue him? Why don't they sue him and say, you broke your contract by bringing this organisation into disrepute, and therefore we are suing you for your money back? Why don't they do it? Why don't they, for once, why doesn't that guy Tim Davie, the Director General, just for once show some backbone?
Well, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? It would send out a real message, and it would send out a message that the corporation values every pound of taxpayers' money that it gets. And whilst £200,000 is allowed to sit in the pockets of a paedophile that they employed, then that is not the message that's going out. The message that's going out is, oh, well, it's only 200 grand, it's not worth the fight. I think it is worth the fight. It's worth the fight on a point of principle. They should demand the money back, not ask, demand the money back, and say, if you don't pay it, we're going to go have a really, really public fight about this.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what they should do. That's what they must do, but that's what they won't do. Because in the end, the reason they didn't go after him, the reason they sort of carried on paying, because they thought, oh, this is just tabloids, this is red top nonsense. Poor old Hugh, he's getting a hard time. Yeah, well, next time, maybe you pay attention when the Sun breaks a big story like that.